In this demonstration, we're going to have a look at using some tools to troubleshoot group policy object application. So in an earlier demo, what I did is I created a group policy preference that applied Notepad to the desktop of my desktop PC. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to know exactly where or what group policies are being applied to this device. So if I just come into my PowerShell, if we just then clear the screen, so one of the things we can do is we can run from the command line. We can run a utility called GP result, and GP result allows me to see which GPs or group policies have been applied to this PC. So if we just do a GP result /R, hit return, it's going to go through and it's going to give me information relating to which group policies apply to this PC. So this point here under user settings, what we have is we can see that the applied group policy objects are the default domain policy, and we can also see the one that I created in an earlier demo called preferences. If we scroll it down, we can see what groups the user is a member of. And if we just scroll it up a bit, what we've also got as well is we've also got the computer settings. So what we can see in the case of the applied group policy objects at the computer level is the default domain policy. Now another thing we can do is we can take that information and we can push that information out to a file. So we do the same thing again. All we'll do is just do an up arrow here just so we can get the last command in. And what we'll do instead is when we do the GP result space /R, what we'll now do is we'll now pipe that, and we'll pipe that to C:// we'll just call this results.html. So it's the same command. It's still running the GP result, but now what it's done is rather than putting it on the PowerShell screen, what we've now got, if I just come to my C drive, we can have a look at the results through results.html, and we can see the information relating to the GP result. So exactly the same thing, it's just we've redirected to a file instead. What we can also do is we also have some group policy testing utilities and results utilities in the group policy management console. So I'm just going to move over to my Active Directory domain controller. And on my domain controller, what we have is if I come to my tools, and if we just come down to my group policy management, and what we have in our group policy management is we have two separate sections here for troubleshooting group policy. And the first one we look at is we'll just look at the group policy results. So what we can do at this point here is we can create, by right clicking on the group policy results, we can launch up the results wizard. So if I select my next key, so what I want to do is I want to run this against lon-cl1. And select next. And then what we want to look at is we just want to have a look at what's happening for administrator. So a datum administrator for the user. And then we'll select our next button, and what this will do is this will gather the policy results. So now we've done that, if we select the finish button, so on the summary page, once the report generates, we'll be able to get some summary information relating to what's happening with administrator on CL1. So we can see the summary page, so we can see no errors detected. That's great. We can also see down here as well information relating to the computer, to the components. We can see the policies, so if we have a look, we show, for example, security settings, have a look at the password policy, we can see the setting, and we can see that that setting is coming from somewhere, and that's coming from the default domain policy. What we've also got on the details tab is we've got details relating to the group policy, so very similar I suppose to the summary, but it's giving us a bit more information. So we can see exactly what's happening with the group policy. Then if we look at the policy events, what we have within the policy events, we can see we did have some issues earlier on. So if we just have a look at this, we can see the process in the group policy failed because of the lack of network connectivity to a domain controller. And that's because the client machine booted up faster than the domain controller did, which is why I got that error message there. But as we can see, if we come further up, it was then successful. So that is our group policy. Now what we can also do with this group policy, if we right click, we can save the report off. And then we can save the report off, and then we can access the report at a later date if we wish. So what we'll do is we'll just stick that on my desktop. I'm happy to call it administrator on lon-cl1.htm. And if we just have a look, what we've now got on the desktop is we've now got sitting here, we've now got that HTML report. Another thing we can do through the Group Policy Management Console is we can do a group policy modeling. Now with the group policy modeling, this is a what if wizard. The group policy result is an actual, this is what has applied, but what we get with group policy modeling, we can see what would happen if a certain computer with a certain user in a certain container was running the group policy. So let's go for the group policy modeling. Let's select next. So we're happy that we're going to use lon-dc1 as the Active Directory domain controller. And now what we'll do is we'll just search through and we'll just search for a user. And I'll just pick a user, we'll go for Adam. What we want to know is what happens if Adam logs into a computer called lon-cl2. We'll select next there. So at this point here, Adam is using a slow network. Also as well, he's currently in OU equals managers, but he's moving job. So he's going to move into the IT department. So we want to see if being a member of the IT department will cause any additional group policies or remove group policies. We're happy with the computer location and select next. So what we have is he's not going to be a member of the managers group anymore, but what he will be a member of is the IT group. Computer security groups are fine. We're going to use all group policy links. Same with the computer. Happy with processing this on the domain controller. And when we select finish, based off the information we've just typed into that modeling wizard, this will show us the group policies that will affect Adam. And we can have a look at all of the settings he will get based off the various group policies that are applied to him as a user. As with everything else in Windows operating systems, we've also got Events in Event Viewer. So if we just go into Event Viewer, and within Event Viewer what we'll have a look at is we're looking for the system log. So if we just come into Event Viewer and just go to our Windows logs, so first place we've got here is we've got our system logs. So in the case of our system logs, what we could see at this point here is we would be able to see, when it eventually refreshes, any information relating to any services that are applying. So what we'd be looking for here is maybe be looking for any warnings or errors. What we've also got as well is we've also got specific group policies log files that apply to group policies, and we can see them through our application and services logs. And if we come in here and just expand up Microsoft, then what we'll do is we'll expand up Windows, and then what we have within here is we have the group policy logs. So they're down towards the G's. So what we have here is we have our group policy, and within our group policy we've got the operational log, and that is giving me specific information to the group policy component. And that's the end of this demonstration of having a look at some of the reports that we can generate to help us troubleshoot group policies. Thank you.